And we are underway. So Twitch chat, September Nova Cup Grand Finals is here. We're going to have Team Abrasiert on the left, that's Kingdanzz and Widderson, and they are against the Butter Boys on the right, that is Shea and XGod37. Let's go.
Let's get into it. Redraw right away from Widderson. Okay. And YOLO from King. Cash out from XGod. I imagine Shea's picking great. Let's see. Widderson already has some interesting options. He picks it really fast because he sees Magician and he thinks white main gates with gate guard to start.
Ooh.
And King needs to reroll, I think, because... Or, well, not right away. He has Double Fish for 3 with his gun, but he needs some late game options that kill wave 13.
Yeah, I think his role is pretty solid for the first 8 waves of the game. So he doesn't need to reroll too quickly. Like, he can keep that extra +1 income in his YOLO roll without rerolling too soon. I think that's what he's going to do.
XGod has some interesting cash out options. He's probably going to play some sort of tier 3 mix units. Warg, Gate Guard, Infiltrator, Cats, Ask, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Widderson opts for the Rusher Angler, so he actually rerolled, well, he used 2 of his many rerolls to find something he likes.
I think Widderson just wants to guarantee a strong opener, right? So, yeah, he gets redraw, which obviously gives him 4 rerolls. He spends a couple of those making sure he's got a very solid opener, and the Crusher Angler start is pretty good, by the way.
Yeah.
And then he's going to save his other 2 rolls for something a bit more late game.
XGod continuing to save on 1 on people with his 5 worker openers. See if he can catch King the same way he caught Rokir.
Problem is, there's pretty much no way to leak Kingdanzz on wave 2. So I don't know if XGod's going to go all the way to 3, but even there, like you say, he does have the Devilfish.
Yeah, okay. Shea, we see like a pretty not like broken Poda roll, but pretty solid Poda Ranger. And some decent tanks. So no mask, but you can't have it all every game.
You can't, not every game. To be honest, I've been loving the Pota Ranger lately. Like, instead of the lower split with the mask, I just put the Ranger in a higher split, the Daphne down here, and you end up getting the same, like, Zamba effect that you get with the mask. You just have to be more aware that things are going right instead of left. But it works really well.
The Ranger is solid, or the Daphne is really solid for killing Rams, which is, you know, usually what happens in the late game. And it already gives you an answer for 10, which is always important for Poda. Okay, so King opted to just stay 4 workers, build the Buzz. I mean, he's respecting... Oh my god, Exos went 6 workers with the Gate Guard Cat.
Very nice. Not respecting Widderson's Mythium at all.
And I think he's going to be right that Widder's not getting 60 on him, so...
Widderson does save, though.
Ooh,
so
might
how
catch
is
him
XGod
on 4.
looking on 4? Well, he gets the Infiltrator here. He will, of course, have the 5-stack Neko for wave 4, so maybe he's okay. But the send can be pretty big from Widderson.
Yeah. Because this is going to be a long wave, I think. 80 onto King. He's thinking if he wants to shift this 20 gold. I don't hate it. Seems perfectly fine to do that.
Yeah, and he does.
Shea and XGod went to 6 workers, both of them. So they do have a little bit of the early game lead with King stuck on 4.
Yeah. He's got just such good split tanking there between the Devilfish and the gun. This is perfect for him.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, he's 4 workers, so he has the gold, but with cash out, you get similar gold amounts, and you can do like tier 3 plus tier 1.
Yeah.
And then the gun just perfectly split tanks the left, or whichever side your tier 3 isn't on.
That was so good there for Kingdanzz. Like, holding the 80 send from XGod. Yeah, he's really happy with that.
Look at this long wave. It's going to be Mr. Dino showing up in XGod's lane.
How is he going to deal with this?
Right now, his cat is going to have a nice presence.
He doesn't even have enough gold to make it a 5-stack kitty. So he goes for the masks instead.
Mask. Or what's his... Changing position at the mask?
Shea, meanwhile, has Consort and some more buzzes. He should be just fine. It's only 60 cents, so Shea, I'm pretty confident, is clearing. XGod, though, let's see what happens with this dino. Mask tanks only the dino,
It's bad. His mask looks like it is gonna die.
And that's his big source of damage, right? Mask goes down.
And
He's gonna leak decently.
Mr. Dino is refusing to die.
Just
he gets the second summon out.
Yeah.
That's big. It saves him like an extra creeper too.
Yeah,
it's not the worst leak.
42% leak is totally fine for the 80 cent there.
Carry mode Shea, 8 workers, no fear.
Priestess just such a strong early game unit.
Okay, income. Widderson playing very aggressively actually. 7 workers with bounty, Steve.
What's his answer going to be for wave 6 though? Is he shifting here for a kingpin? I think he is.
Ballsy, considering that I'm pretty sure this leaks to like any send, but
it absolutely leaks to any send. But
I think we saw XGod leak to no send basically with these similar units.
Okay, I mean, this might just leak to no send. His board is very weak.
And we have DPS. I guess he'll pick up the split maybe, so...
I think with the way it's split tanking like that, he might be just fine. Oh.
Let's see, how's the Crusher doing?
Yeah, he's totally fine. Even if he ends up leaking out, it's only going to be 1 creep, so totally happy with that. Question is whether he affords Kingpin, and with this leak from XGod, only against a 60 send, by the way. So that means Widderson's guaranteed his Kingpin now.
Yeah, I wonder if this makes Shea want to go 7 after seeing Shift, because you assume a Shift for Kingpin or an answer for Wave 6, which usually are bad on Wave 7.
Yeah.
And you can just brute spam a Kingpin to death on 7 quite easily.
Yeah.
Thing is, if he needs the gold, he needs the gold. Yeah, and he's just gonna income, which is completely fine. He's in a perfectly good spot.
I think he knows, right? Like, he knows that Widderson is getting the Kingpin there. He probably reads his value, see that he's super low value with a Bounty Hunter and the Steed. Like, what else is happening apart from a Kingpin in that case?
Yep.
But yeah.
The resend is going to be great for King as well, because he didn't push that much to the... He wanted to go long on Shea, and now he's getting the resend, which will let him push really easily now.
Yeah, push and probably shift on wave 7 if he wants to go for the Vulcan Cannon wave 8.
Okay, opting for the Yuzora over the Daphne, which would be the other option here.
I think the Yuzora is definitely the right play there. Just getting the extra tank value. But I do think the Daphne synergizes very well with the Priestess. Like obviously the debuff from the Daphne and the fact that the Priestess is a triple shot. Oh, a Mimic!
Yep, that one is pretty juicy into his area usually.
Yeah.
It's some nice tier 1s to snack on as well.
And
he needs to go for Daphne. Right, he could go like Vet Boost, but I think Daphne is just the safer play and it scales better. Like, okay, double Vet, sure. But I think the Mimic he's lacking some damage on his board as well.
I think the Mimic's going to absolutely rip him apart, and he's even going to get a Lizard to go with it as well. I think the Mimic's going to cause some serious damage in Shea's lane.
What we need to see from XGod is at least a cover. Like, he's on value getting an income send.
Let's get a gold counter on this bad boy. So we've got 6 gold so far. 9 gold.
I think I'm going to be saying another one soon.
12 gold. 15 gold.
Literally almost ate every unit. Oh,
it missed. What a noob, Mimic.
Gotta work on that.
Yeah. XGod does hold his income send, but that's just 3 more gold for the Mimic mid, I'm pretty sure.
I'm curious if this is 2 brutes and a snail. Is this like leaking as well?
Yeah, probably does, right? And then they get some pretty serious king damage.
It's fine. Widder scaling now with his Kingpin.
Yeah.
I don't mind just income.
And in terms of workers, Team Abrasiert are now 2 in the lead, with Widderson being 12 against Shea's 10, XGod and Kingdanzz even on 11. But Kingdanzz has some pretty juicy income there.
Oh. Somehow, this guy always sneaks ahead. Yeah, right, little income from King.
We do see the first Ranger played out by Shea. I think
And
at this
they
point you
didn't-
could almost just hide it and drop it on wave 10 as a Daphne.
Yeah, it would be a like pretty powerful mix-up, but I guess his gold was awkward.
Yeah.
King's reroll looking pretty juicy. We didn't mention it, but now he has a board to play with in the late game for sure.
Yeah, the Mudman very solid, covering some of the gun's waves there, and then of course he's got the Yazora and even the gates for waves like 13.
With Magician in the game, his build is looking pretty spicy. Like
Yeah.
both King and Widder have better Magician builds, and okay, it's fair enough. There's Villain, which is great for Shea as well.
Hardened Mudman from Dan's, but the send is not coming here.
Yeah, I think they want 10 or 11. Probably 11 with PTA makes the most sense, but maybe with the Harden, it changes their plans.
I think if they see this Harden here, going wave 10 just looks really appealing.
Like, is King getting his gun? It's close. I
You'd
would
have to
assume
sell
he does.
for it.
Yeah, he would have to definitely send and maybe pawn shop something. Yeah,
Like sell the Devilfish or something like that.
can't sell the console. Okay, here come the sends. Mole is pretty reasonable. You don't really need that much myth to leak Azaria on 10 usually.
Yeah. Although with the double Daphne and consorts, I think Shea's actually not looking too bad. There is an Ogre coming out from Shea into Widderson. XGod, Ogre Brute as well.
Ogre Brute, yeah, that's fair. Targeting the Kingpin. I'm
Daphne,
always curious
yeah.
if just spamming Brutes is better because, like, you do lose out on the damage when the Kingpin kills the Brute, but it's also delay for the boss to keep munching away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's fair enough. You send the big guy, like, maybe he has an accident and Penny leaks it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Widder has some beefy boys there. And the Dark Mage for the DPS boost.
Okay. I mean, the Kingpin's going to do a lot of damage against the boss here.
Yeah.
Ben's a massive all-around.
Ooh, and no gun. Just goes for Disciple and a Consort, I think.
With the triple Daphne and the boosted Peewee, like, there's some serious damage here.
Yep.
But still a leak?
Still leaks? Wow.
And Widderson's holding. Kingdanz's barely leaking there. XGod and Shea. Oh, the 4-Eyes is going to do so much King damage, actually.
Yeah, I love that send. Like, realizing there's no real threat on XGod's board, but he just has tanks. So, yeah. Send a 4-Eye does insane King. Okay, like, yeah, that seems normal.
Yeah, that's wave 10 for you with 4-Eyes.
Youch.
Oh,
they're dead.
Yeah, and Jules is now 77% in favour of Kingdanzz and Widderson. And I think he might be onto something. 22 workers on Widderson. My lord.
They actually both just go villain. They have like beautiful magician setups, but the villain is just also really powerful on their
villain is so good. It covers their weak ways, right? Because at the moment it's looking like they're only really weak on, say, 13 and 15, and the villain is just so strong on those big waves.
Ooh, Eggy here. Love that.
Okay.
That's a way back into the game for sure.
Only if he holds it.
Yeah. There's definitely a world in which
he loses his egg immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, like Widder is 22 workers. Like.
Yeah, he can quite easily go for a big send on 12 for sure.
Yeah, like Shea has hidden his golems, so. Could bait them to send, but I feel like King and Widder might just also go long now.
I mean, I feel like this egg play, he's just going to lose his egg. Yeah, he just loses his egg.
Yeah, never mind.
But I think this egg play from XGod is still completely reasonable. Like, he realizes that he's behind in the game, and he's just going, okay, well, if I don't do something, we've lost. So let me try this risky play, and if it works, maybe we have a way back.
For sure, it's definitely worth to take a gamble in this situation.
And this time it didn't work the way he wanted it to, but yeah, I still think he made the right call there to go for a risky play.
Okay, everyone's saving.
So we
White
probably
man.
just see a 13 play all around, or what do you think?
Yeah, it smells that way. The values are looking pretty low already. The boards aren't amazing. Like, Shea, I think, has insanely good odds of just full holding 13. With, like, perfect Azeria with Villain and good tanks, like, he should be fine.
He needs it to be perfect, though, right? He absolutely needs it to be perfect. Because the sends
But
coming in are going to be massive.
Daphne plus Azeria is usually good enough to just murder one side, like, of the Rockos.
Yeah.
Let's see
Azeria's
how he
not
does it.
tanking very much, actually, but that's kind of the way you want it on wave 13.
Yeah, like, two Rockos, two Golems would be good. Like, it can usually survive that, especially with Villain and Daphne
Yeah.
support.
Alright, there's a Siege Ram and a
Okay.
Mole, and a double Four Eyes coming out from Widderson. They just have so much more Mythium to play with on the side of Abrasiert.
Not sure about the Ram, given that there is already upper split, and there's not too many tanks in the split to hit the Ram low.
So
But it's
bear with me. I think the theory behind the Ram is it distracts the Daphnes because they can shoot across the entire wave, and it might even
okay.
distract the Azeria as well. And if that
Yeah, it's
happens, the
possible.
Azeria won't defend herself, and she'll just die to the golems.
Yeah, and to be fair, Ram actually does a lot of damage to Yuzora as well.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's see. We have some white main gates on the other
Never mind. The
side.
Daphnes stay left. The Daphnes stay left. The Azeria smurfing. Shea might just pull out the Dream Hold here.
Oh,
Now
now he's onto
everything's on the
Ram.
Ram,
Okay.
but he killed the full left side first. Meanwhile, XGod, how are you doing? Pretty damn well, though. Shea! Oh, his area goes down! It's not going to be enough. He needed the Dream Hold.
Yeah, it's a really good try though.
It's a really, really good try there for Shea and XGod. Both of them barely leaking, but barely was all it needed to be. The game is over here. Abrasiert 1-0 in the grand finals.
Honestly, really impressed with how Widder played that. It was such a big risk to shift on 5 there, and he just gets away with it. And then he's in such a good spot to take over.
Yeah,
Holds 10 really cleanly.
Let's have a flick back through to that wave 5. Yeah, exactly. That was super risky, actually. Like, Shea could have ruined his day with a single brute there on 5. And we know that Shea had the Mythium because he sent 160 on 6.
Yeah, and like Shea already had a really aggressive opener. Got like Income King on 4. So it could have been pretty big sends, yeah.
Yeah. I think Shea's probably sending 100 on 5 if he wants to. And
yeah,
like Brute Double Snail is just going to tear Widderson to shreds there on wave 5.
And just completely ruins the plan as well.
Yeah.
There's no Kingpin on 6 anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty ballsy from Widderson, but like you say, it worked out, and that was able to give them a win. Also, this Mimic send on 7 from Kingdanzz was just rude.
Really nice.
Shea leaking 90% there, and it got, what was it, 15, 18 gold on the Mimic as well? Nice value.
And like King with a really heads-up play to just drift as well, or like to not push after 5.
Yeah.
Like puts down the golem, didn't get a full send. Saw XGod leak everything, so XGod is probably gonna send for some gold to make up for it. Catches the resend and then pushes hard to leak Shea.
Yeah. A very, very solid play all around from the Abrasiert boys. And then this 10 send was a killer. Absolute killer, bringing them down from 80% to 16. That 4 Eyes just shredding the king of XGod and Shea.
Yeah, I mean, Wave 10 is the king killer for sure.
Wave 10 is a king killer. And then they're just able to pretty much push it over the line. Very small leaks from Shea and XGod, holding extremely well on 13 whilst heavily undervalued, but it wasn't quite enough, and that gave Kingdanzz and Widderson the 1-0 advantage. So we've got a final on our hands, ladies and gents.
Yeah, a little quick start from King and Widder, taking over that game. Never was really in doubt.
Yeah.
And King did like a really good job. Like he basically played a 4-worker opener and still was like scaling fine in the game. So
yeah,
really nice game.
All right, let's see what they've got in store for us in game number 2.
Yeah, maybe any mix-ups? Don't think so. I think they'll just stick with their plan. Widder got his win with redraw, so that's nice. Redraw and YOLO off the table. They have more consistent stuff now.
Yeah. Bear in mind as well that it's a best of 5 final, so we will see quite some mastermind variety on the side of Kingdanzz and Widderson, or whichever team ends up winning. They'll have to play 3 different masterminds each.
Yep.
All right, Butter Boys, come on. You got this one. We need to see all 5 games played. I don't even care which team wins. I just want to see all of the matches played.
Okay, great from Widderson. I think King and Widder never like to play double greed, but they're pulling out for this one.
Double greed. I mean, it's just safe, right? It's a pretty vanilla option. It doesn't really excel in any area, but it also doesn't have any weaknesses. So why not just take the safe route?
For sure. And playing safe for their 2-0 lead would be pretty big for them.
I'll ask you to talk about the roles a second, and I will be right back in 10 secs.
Shea already has a Pota Mask this time, upgrading his Pota role. Widder is also playing Pota with no mask, but still a solid role with Garrick. And King is playing the gun again, has some nice cheap tanks, Doomsday APS for late game. And XGod has like a pretty normal Gate Looter starts.
Yeah.
Cat as an answer, Bunk as the scaling option.
Let's see if it's punished with a snail. Kingdanzz and Widderson both holding on to their Mythium at this point. There's a king up from Kingdanzz. Widderson, what are you doing with your 20? You're king upping as well.
And XGod opting for the save.
Yeah, once again, we've seen him do it pretty much every game so far tonight. So he just holds his Mythium, he has these aggressive openers. Now this time it's not 5 workers, but 2 pack rats provide even more Mythium than 5 workers do on wave 1.
Yeah. There's like a little cheese strat that I know Kid K loves where you just double hunt and then push, and then you can send 40 after income after king upping on one. And it can really mess with people.
Yeah. And it looks like that's what he's going for.
He is looking like he wants to send 60. I think he'll get it.
But does he really want to send a DT? Like, if he wants to send 60, isn't he just going to send 3 snails?
Yeah, I think 3 snails would be the best. And King isn't built to hold 3 snails. He's built to hold 2 for sure. Let's see what he goes for.
He saves.
He's just holding Smith.
Okay. I would have liked to see 3 snails.
It's definitely would be a pretty annoying thing for Kingdanzz to deal with.
Yeah. And it looks like all 4 players are holding here. There's no real aggression, but Shea does get a king up actually into his Pota build. And this time Shea has Priestess Mask. So if you thought he was scary last game, oh boy, Priestess with Mask is just a different beast.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to deal with early game. Widderson also skillfully rerolled Mask.
Yeah, I don't know why he's building here. I think he should just hide it.
Yeah, hiding it is a lot more annoying. It makes them way more tilted on 4.
Exactly.
I mean, Widder has to build because he could have theoretically gone 40. But he also has Mask, so, he's chilling. Widder's role is actually completely insane this game. Has such a nice mix of, pierce damage, Azeria, and then good tanks.
Mm-hmm.
King also rerolling into pretty nice stuff as well.
Alright, XGod is starving past 3, and here's a Dino on 4 for Kingdanzz. Let's see how he copes with that one.
I think King should be fine. I imagine he can either get a vet out or just 2 bucklers or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 bucklers. The safer play, considering.
He's just really high value there. 390. It is still minus 70 though.
Yeah, I've never seen this send ever versus gun, so I have no idea how it does, to be honest. Because usually with the snails, you have the option to pick off some of the wave in between the snails, but the dino, there's no option. It's just a dino. Gotta kill it first.
It's 100 Mythium send, but the triple buckler is just so much natural tank value.
Oh, the gun?
Gun is
it
going
gonna
down.
die?
Does it
Needs
protect
to shoot right.
itself? It's going, gone. It's going to be a bit of a leak there from Kingdanzz.
Yeah, 50%. That's tough.
50%.
There's too many tanks on the left. Ended up just being problematic because PV died. There's nothing left for the gun. But it's going to be a cover. Not the worst. And Shea staying 7 workers. Did he get a send last? I guess he probably did.
We have a brute send from Widderson, which is looking pretty solid against XGod on 5. He does go for the double hunt, but the thing is, Sea Dragon is so good on this wave. Like, it's insane single target magic damage against the boss, and it's going to keep his natural and fortified tanks alive.
I wonder if King is going for just the same send pattern mimic on 7. That's what it feels like, at least. So how does this brute do? Not too bad, not too good. Looks like most of the wave is getting killed. Ooh. But it's a small leak.
He'll take that, 47%. Like, he was pretty undervalued. He double hunted his rats. I think he's happy enough to leak small, especially because Shea 4 covers.
So everyone has some myth besides Widder. See what the plan is. Feels like wave 7 is reasonable considering how much natural armor King has.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that this build is like very hard to leak on 7 without Mimic. Because they always, it's always a Hellraiser here.
Yeah. And you just know that he's going to be really strong then on wave 7.
Yeah,
both players actually, like very, very similar builds from Widderson and Shea.
Yeah. The wave 7 send will probably allow save XGod's wave 8 though, which is always nice. And no Toda accidents, it looks like. 4 Rockos to the right for both of them, so shouldn't be a disaster here.
You've got to expect the good positioning at this level of play, right? Like, you can just see how perfect it is, although neither player receiving a send, so they weren't really tested either.
It's fair. Sometimes the enough melee sends can mess up your aggro.
Yeah. And Kingdanzz going for an income send here, while Shea actually goes for a full send into Widderson's Tantrum Hellraiser.
Now, Mole is a good send, but I have to say, I think it's gonna be completely fine. Like, he just Green Devil maybe, and a guard.
Yeah. Now the question here is: Widderson ever just shifting that goal to try and get an Azaria for 8? And it looks like no is the answer. He does full build. Okay. Unless.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Oh. Made us sweat a little bit, but I think he's completely fine. Like this build can hold some insane undervalued stuff.
Shea's definitely fine, so let's keep our eyes on Kingdanzz and Widderson, who received the dangerous sends, the 140 against Widderson and the 180 against Kingdanzz, who will actually leak decently there in lane number 1. 73% leak for King. How is Widderson doing? It looks like he's leaking pretty much only the mole.
Yep, and he's fine with that.
He's fine with that, but the fact that Kingdanzz leaked as well with imps and brutes, this is going to be a bit of king damage here.
Yeah, I think Widder's happy because he has his Mythium saved up.
Yeah.
But
Widderson's definitely in the driving seat now, right? Like, the fact that he was able to save past this wave while only leaking very small. Oh, but he just goes for an income send on 8.
Interesting. I mean, I think they eventually want 10.
Yeah.
But I guess he felt like he wants to push a little bit, so he does need a send.
So the thing is, XGod does look pretty weak on this wave with the Harbinger, and obviously he's got the Pack Rats, which are pretty garbage on 8, but because of the pressure, he might feel forced to not treasure hunt.
Yeah, he can't really get out his bunk without some magic. Oh, yep, there goes one of the rats.
Okay, I mean, this is a pretty big win for Kingdanzz and Widderson, because one, it's only an income send, and two, XGod felt pressured enough that he had to sell one of his pack rats to get that bunk out. So sure, he's going to hold now, like, at least you would hope so. But
yeah, it's a full send, but it's still full income.
yeah.
So should be okay. Like, Harbinger is not tanking for his cats.
Wait, will he hold?
One more spawn?
Yeah, he's going to hold, right? The Harbinger can clean this up?
Surely.
Surely.
I got
Oh, unless...
Ooh, long wave.
One more? Okay. And yeah, I think that's actually pretty bad for XGod. Like, this is a tiny leak, but don't be deceived because he stayed really low workers to do this and sold one of his pack rats.
Yeah, and they do have the pressure to go 10 now, where Widder is looking horrible. But King is looking pretty decent there. Widder has an option to get out the archer. There's no way he's building archer here because he's dead to mole in that case, but he can have a reasonable effort.
And Kingdanzz, what do you think about this Millennium placement here? Isn't that going to mess up his aggro later on?
It's... I think, yeah, I guess it's not horrible. It barely walks in front.
Yeah.
But...
Won't it like full tank on range waves, for example?
Yeah, I think it might be more than he wants on range. But he has some idea of how he wants to get APS and Butcher on a Phoenix, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
he definitely has a
plan. Probably not horrible.
He definitely has.
I do prefer Millennium on the left, though, just because of... Okay, but...
Alright, everybody sends here on wave 10, which I think is a solid call. Widderson, in particular, looking like he might be in a bit of trouble here to the Mimic Brute from Shea.
Yeah, the Archer is nice for late game, but the Dafty is a lot better on 10, so he's forced to go for just Alpha Mouse and tank value.
There is the APS which you expect, so we probably see the Phoenix either here or here later on in the game. We even have a boost here from Kingdanzz. So
yeah,
really trying to cover his mate here on wave 10.
They go for some king ups too, like recognizing they're probably on the worst end of holding this.
Yeah. And Shea even whips out the Berserker here to go alongside his Sovereign, so he's just looking pretty solid actually on this wave. He should just full hold, or at least like very small. Meanwhile,
yeah, the Mimic is a great send, but
Kingdanzz doesn't quite kill the boss. And Widderson obviously leaking as well, but he did better than I expected, if I'm honest.
Yep.
But Shea and XGod both leaking as well.
Yep. Bloody game. These gonna be more king damage probably on the left, but
not by too much.
The bosses aren't. Yeah.
And over on the right hand side, shaving
the
their king
boss
down
is
below 80.
really 20% king for just like the tiniest leaks, so 10 is really unforgiving. Whoa, XGod and Shea pushing hard. King and Widder chilling.
Oh, we just had a very generous 10 gift sub donation from 6 NCI, so thank you very much for that. That's much appreciated. I'm sure all of the receivers are very happy with those gifts. Alright. So double pulverizer for Kingdanzz and Widderson, pretty solid on both Gon and Azaria. It covers your weak waves, so 13 obviously is a weakness for those units, but Pulverizer counters those big columns quite well.
Curious behind the push from XGod and Shea. What wave they're looking at?
Do they want 12 maybe? But 12 into a Pulverizer Vulcan cannon is so risky. Like,
yeah,
unless you get a Siege Ram, which he just doesn't. At least not pre-income.
I feel like they want 13, and I guess they feel confident enough in their builds to push.
Mm-hmm.
It's riskier either way if King and Widder are looking for something longer like 14 or 15. But to be honest, Potomask has very little...
here from Kingdanzz. I think he's trying to bait the 12 send though, because he shifted a lot of gold.
Don't think it's gonna work, but let's see. Everyone holding their nerve.
Alright, so Kingdanzz with his 520 gold. I do expect to see the Vulcan cannon here. No, he's
Wow.
adding the Fire Lord. Okay. Do you really want to show that, though, before wave 13?
I feel like if you're really greedy, you can just put the Butcher and hide it, but it's very risky.
Just look at this, like, really interesting positioning from Kingdanzz. I guess he's doing it in a way that the Phoenix is going to be fully buffed by the APS and the Butcher, but still tank some on wave 13, etc.
Like, it's going to be like a Super Phoenix, basically.
Yeah.
And it looks bad on
It's currently not tanking, but we have to hope that it will on 13.
Yeah, if it doesn't tank on 13, then it's going to be tragic, but
yeah.
Pretty neat idea, so.
Now, XGod and Shea, they do have the Worker and Mythium lead, but of course that means Kingdanzz and Widderson have the value lead.
Wow, income from King, okay.
Okay. There's his Phoenix. He probably needed the income to make sure he had enough gold without selling any units.
Yeah, Butcher Phoenix, okay. Or, sorry, Butcher Peewee.
I also think they're correctly reading that XGod and Shea are both quite strong on wave 13.
Yeah, I mean, Shea is literally never leaking. XGod, you could get him with a big enough send, but... Or I think at least Widders...
Well, Widderson has full send, actually. He's gone for the Four Eyes and the Brute, and we might see a leak out of XGod.
To be honest, I don't think... Oh, that's a very high split from Widder, like one creep. But his Abrasiert is actually like only focusing the right, so it's actually very good that it's only taking one.
Now it's focusing to defend itself, so it's not going to die. And I think Widderson's just going to do very, very well here. In fact, he might even full hold. Meanwhile, Kingdanzz easily full holding with that godly Phoenix. Look at that.
Yeah, really nice. Like he set up this positioning on wave 9 and paid off.
XGod feeding shutdown here. Okay. I think he won't be too happy with that, but just look at this beautiful Phoenix from Kingdanzz. Easily holding the 460 Mythium Send from XGod.
Okay. Thing is, like, even with XGod leak, they have like a neutral state from where XGod was 4 workers ahead for that whole save. So his income with the investment is really pushing him ahead. See where the next send comes, because we do have 2 Azirias in the game as well as that Super Phoenix. Like 15 isn't the best option into these builds.
We see all 4 players shifting large amounts of gold here, so nobody wants to show their value. They're all trying to kind of trying to pretend that they've pushed really hard to try and bait us end on 15. So maybe we see both teams just save past it because they're both saying, look, we're weak here, we've overpushed, you've got to send, and then they're going to build really high. But Kingdanzz, his Phoenix just ran it down mid on this wave.
Yeah, the Phoenix tanked like 70% of the wave. I think he's pro leaking.
I think with the Pulverizer and the Millennium, he might just be fine.
Oh, yeah. It's so interesting. I think people are confused.
I think XGod is doing quite a lot of pings there. But this is going to come down to whether or not he can stun lock it, which he can. Ooh. And the bait worked. Shea and XGod are sending here on wave 15. Kingdanzz and Widderson are just going to build for 800 gold each now.
Thing is, they're both undervalued. Like, these builds are leakable. Like, Aziria is great, but there's accidents that can happen with when your board relies on one unit smurf tanking.
Absolutely. And Widderson, he does have... He's even building for 16. This could be really dangerous now. Widderson's full building 16 with the double Lioness Alpha Mill. Okay, he adds a few gargoyles now as well, so he's hedging his bets a little bit. But the sends are big.
His damage seems really low.
He has one Aziria basically for damage, and that's it.
And it's not tanking because of his super high splits. I mean, he's worried because of the Pulverizer that the boss might just feel funny and go on it, but...
And meanwhile, Kingdanz's Phoenix ran it down again, so it died pretty quickly. Widderson, let's have a look over here. He's now on the boss.
I think they saved too long. This is going to be big damage.
Yeah, but that survived, though, I'm pretty sure. So Widderson leaks 81%. Kingdanzz will leak a bit less than that.
It's like half hitting the shaman.
73. There is a shaman, or there's 2 shamans alive, and 2 bosses on lowish HP. I don't think it kills them. They have 8 king attacks, but it's going to be a ton of damage.
Yeah, then they need to find the wave, which is probably 7. Okay, nope, I lied. It's 16. Their builds look reasonable though.
They
all good.
8%. XGod and Shea, they save here though. I guess
they need to just full spell. I think is what they're planning.
They need to
full spell and save in case it's 17.
But they are leaking here. The sends are massive coming out from Kingdanzz and Widderson.
This is usually horrible on 16.
Yeah,
2 of them.
And he's actually preparing the masks for 17. So he's building the Hellraisers here where they're weak, so that they will be tantrumed next wave.
Yeah, it's the wrong read, but tough to make these calls. Yeah,
please, guys, you need to do the king. Please. No, they don't.
That's tough.
Yeah, I think that's all she wrote.
Do. I don't see the world in which they hold.
No,
or live,
I do not see that world either. I see the world where Kingdanzz and Widderson go 2-0 in the grand finals.
Yeah, that one's looking pretty realistic. I mean, oh my god, this hold is pretty good for XGod, actually.
Yeah, he's doing well, but now he's out of units.
Yeah, I actually lied. There's like a million creeps all bunched up together.
Yeah. They may have survived here with full king upgrades, but also maybe not, so...
Yeah, like Center Ogre, those guys don't really die to the king spell.
They probably made the right call to save and just risk it for a biscuit.
That's a tough one. That was a really nice bait by King, though.
Yeah, it was a really solid bait. Like, we called it out. All 4 players were just shifting 300 to 400 gold on wave 14. It's super low value. Like, look at these values on 14. 2.2, 2.3, 2.5, 2.5. And the fact that Kingdanzz damn near leaked the no send causes XGod and Shea to send there on 15. And to be fair, the send nearly worked. They go down to 8% there.
Yeah, it's tough to make the right, like.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, that's just tough.
A tiny bit more Mythium, or a tiny bit worse RNG or whatever, and they probably just win the game there on 15. But as it happens, Abrasiert, they hold their nerve on 15, and they get a cool 2-0 lead with a wave 16 send there. So very, very well played to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that is like a very, very bold call, I would say.
I mean, they're champions for a reason, right?
Indeed.
So, Abrasiert, 2-0 lead. We need to see a reverse sweep coming out of XGod and Shea if they're to win the September Cup. They can do it. The thing is, they can do it. Like, they very nearly won game number 2 just now. It was within a hair's breadth of closing the game out on 15. It didn't quite go their way, but in another world, you know, we'd be looking at a 1-1 at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is, King and Widder also need to pull out something new. The double greed is gone. I wonder if they'll opt for something just like cash out, like keep it
basically the same, or play something completely different like Chaos, which I know King loves.
Yeah.
And Widder still has his YOLO open, or his Castle, his famous patented.
I think Castle is absolutely terrible for tournament play, to be honest. Like, it just opens your early game up so much to be abused.
He's had some unlucky Castle games in tournament, I think, most recently.
It just makes you so weak in the first 10 waves that you just can't afford to, like, have a bad game in a tournament setting. It's suicide, I think. Alright, XGod and Shea. Come on, guys. You've got to show us what you're made of here. This is your last chance. Abrasiert to 2-0 up. The best of 5, so 1 more game for Kingdanzz and Widderson. They are our September champions. I do want to see some signs of life coming out from Shea and XGod. They've got to at least give King and Widders a run for their money, right?
Yeah, let's see if they can show some life in this one. Like, they had a really close game. They just need to do the same and convert it this time.
Alright, game number 3. Here we go. Abrasiert, 2 points up in the best of 5. XGod and Shea, let's make it happen.
Is anyone going to pick a Mastermind? Cartel from Shea, okay. Cash Out from King. Oh, jeez, there's some options there. YOLO. That is not the best YOLO roll. It's playable. Probably need to reroll though.
I mean, I don't know about playable. It's looking pretty rough.
Yeah, it's a reroll angle for sure.
Yeah. We have Windhawk Angler opener there for Kingdanzz.
Angler Rat, oh my god,
And
he's
Rat.
putting it all together.
Wow. Pack rats are so strong at the moment, I feel.
Yeah. And what does Shea have? K-Card Steed, Warg, Polly. That's a reasonable thing to open with. And transition to like Nightmare APS or something. Or LOD. Yeah, he sees the super Hades. XGod going for
veteran double angular.
Double.
He's baiting the casters.
Surely.
Isn't he baiting the casters? What? What is this opener?
How do you feel about that one, Penny?
I mean, you know me, I love my angler openers. I'm just not sure that angler veteran is where it's at.
This is a new one.
Yeah,
I have not seen that before.
I don't know how I feel about the veteran double angler. It's certainly a build that we haven't seen in the Nova Cup Grand Finals before, so points for originality, I guess.
Yeah. He is doing something. He has perfect gold with no send to get 5 workers in with cash out, so...
Okay, then I guess that means it's good.
He's calculated it for sure.
Kingdanzz feels unable to hunt his pack rat here on 2, which I think, well, clearly he can't, because he can't build anything else.
Yep, just went 5 workers. Wonder if he goes, like, he's just going double guard next? Wow, 3 buzzes because the potential for 40.
But he's kind of rewarded, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's fine to play it safe there, I think, for Widderson.
Yeah, don't mind it. He's gonna push anyways, and
Yeah.
he needed one of those buzzes anyways on 3, so...
We have a Fiend coming out from XGod. Thing is, Kingdanzz also has Gargoyle, which is pretty good on wave 3.
Yeah, the thing is, where do you put these Gargs so that your board doesn't get wrecked by the Fiend?
Here and here, apparently.
Yeah. I guess so. The man has spoken.
But yeah, the Fiend is just very, very difficult for Kingdanzz to kill.
And the Fiend goes onto this middle Garg here.
Yeah.
Can he kill it with just the Angler as Pierce?
The Angler is just so low Pierce damage, right? I think the Angler's even attacking Hopper, actually.
Someone is killing the Fiend, I guess, but...
It's gone now, but this is going to be a bit of a leak here for the man. There's 1 more, 2 more. Yeah, but that's enough. 61% leak there for Kingdanzz.
They have the Mythium saved, so let's see what they want to do with it. It's gonna be Big Sun onto Widder as well, the Dino.
Yeah. But Widderson has tools to answer that with multiple consorts. Kingdanzz, I think he needs to send here if he wants to upgrade the Bounty Hunter on wave 4.
Okay. Cannoneer? Got it, anyways.
Cannoneer is juicy. We get the Bounty Hunter upgrade from Dan, so he should easily be able to hold the resend coming out from XGod. Widderson does add the consort. His gold is quite ugly, though. 65, I suppose he can add a Ranger, but that's not perfect. Maybe he just goes for more buzzes.
I think that there's a limit on how many buzzes you want on your board, so I'd like to see just the Ranger, but yeah, he goes for it. But he's severely undervalued. Oh, okay. Can we focus the Dino now?
Well, the Dino's just living forever, though. I think Widderson should leak decently here. Although this consort destroying the right side of the lane.
The Ranger needs to split tank. Okay.
Well, consort does kill the Dino. He's pretty happy with that. Widderson is really happy with the 50% leak there.
Wow,
And
yeah.
meanwhile, the 100 send, Shea just holds it, and XGod leaks 67%.
Shea did a little Zomba action. He thought he was getting a big melee send, so he tried to drag it all the way around, but there's just a
It just did
cannoneer.
nothing. It ends up with 3 DPS polywogs, which is trying to do their very best to cover in the mid, and it turns out their very best is actually not that good.
Yeah. I think Shea is on to a good start though with Cartel. He's got quite a good spot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to deal with this resend. Oh, he goes 8 workers. Okay, well, let's see. Can sell this poly to make sure the boss doesn't go right, or
He just
do
adds
that.
another
Yeah.
one, that's fine too. 8 workers, he has the gate guard, he has a steed. I think he does
Guess they're
okay
looking
against the resend. He makes
They're
the
looking at
start.
6 or 7, I guess.
7 looks so juicy against Widderson's lane.
Yeah, King is not going to be much better there.
Unless he gets a kingpin, but that's so hard for him to shift on 6 with Bounty Hunter already.
Yeah, I feel like he needs the Violet, and then there's no way to get the Kingpin. Like, there's ways, or he goes Nightmare. Nightmare is probably, if he has the gold for it, he needs to recognize that it's good enough on 6.
Seraphim on 2% HP, beautiful aggro there from Shea, who's on 9 workers. Doesn't go for 10 though.
Probably understands he does need a build, probably like a Steed or a Warg.
Yeah.
Okay.
XGod and Shea, are they continuing to save? They are. So I guess the wave 7 is where it's going to be at. King's going to be on insane value though. Like he's on value here for 6 with a pack rat underground.
Yeah, that is the advantage of rats. Like, it's very hard to starve rats. Like, they're gonna keep up in myth and still be on value when you send.
I think
Ooh, a
Widderson's...
little brood after income.
Yeah, XGod's overbuilding decently though, so he's going to really enjoy
plus
that.
80! Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, he has like the worst units imaginable, but I think when you're plus 80, it might not matter.
I think value is strong, right? But the other thing is, if the Brute actually gets like a pro league out of XGod, how bad is that for Team Abrasiert?
Yeah, they're completely happy with that. Yeah, there's even some nice aggro split tanking.
It's a really perfect 3-way aggro share, so
And
XGod's just definitely holding there.
The wave
But-
takes 4 years.
Shea, are you going for a pro league?
Oh, he got a full 80.
You got an 80 cent. Kingdanzz sent the second turtle after income.
Oh, yeah. Got him, but did he really get them?
I mean, who's got who? Because we've got
Yeah.
200 cents coming out from Shea. XGod can probably reach a third brute. Well, not quite a third brute, actually. But yeah, Widderson looks really vulnerable on 7, and there's the ogre from Shea.
Mr. Ogre, that's a tough one.
XGod.
Okay, brute, probably
Brute,
another
brute.
brute after income.
It's close. I think he needs to push one more worker, maybe? Yeah, which he does. He pushes the 9th
Yeah.
worker. Now he gets the third brute out.
Just smart, he knows he's getting like a baby son. King is plus 50, seems about normal.
He's plus 50, but like this is his only real unit for 7. The Bounty
Yeah.
Hunter's super weak. Green Devil obviously is a tank, but doesn't deal any damage. The Violet, I mean, it's weak, but it might
I
do
suspect
okay.
he can hold.
But
It'd be tricky, but-
240 Mythium walks into Widderson's lane. He is
Never
not holding
mind.
this.
Oh, he's instantly hitting a brute, okay.
Okay,
That's a
brute-
good start. His Violet is just vibing though. Doesn't tank
Yeah.
for his Nightmare. His Nightmare is just... He got both brutes, but they got his Nightmare.
And the Violet, like you say, it is staying alive. Kingdanz's value is strong. Widderson, his value is not too shabby either. Does leak the Ogre +2. And King, are
Yeah,
you just
he-
holding?
He had the right read to go Alpha Male on 7.
Meanwhile,
the
XGod
famous-
leaks 51% to a Brute Snail resend there.
Wow. I mean, he pushed for the third brute, and his units are, like we mentioned, oh my god. he just upped, yeah.
Kingdanz's holding.
Wow. I thought it was bad that his Violet didn't tank, but turns out the Violet was the one clutching it up at the end anyways.
I mean, the Violet just opened up the Brutes, right? So the Violet spell, bringing the Brutes below HP threshold, means that all 3 Brutes got sniped pretty quickly in Kingdanz's lane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming XGod's not particularly happy looking at that aggro. Like,
No,
literally,
no.
the first unit hit was a Brute, which is just insane.
We do have income resends from Kingdanzz and Widderson. XGod should be fine, though, with 945 value. Shea, what are you doing with your 260 gold?
Trying to get out LOD? Okay.
So Shea holds as well.
Yeah, the wave 10 might be problematic, but we'll worry about that, I suppose, when they get there.
These are full sends from both Danz and Widderson.
Yeah, to be honest, plus 45, but like these units just are really bad. Like they don't do anything particularly, but
it's fine.
Maybe
like, he
just
only
enough.
receives 4 snails, so he's doing just fine.
And once he gets his kingpin, his board is completely fixed. But
yeah.
For a little bit, but
he's got that power spike coming up.
Like if you look at his late game, he can recover this, but
Absolutely.
He's in a horrible spot. Like looking at his income.
Shea holding very slowly as well. I wonder when Shea and XGod want to go now.
Maybe something just... There's Overworth, there's Lizard Army. They might be looking for something even after 10.
Yeah, like a straight 11 play looks pretty decent, I'm going to say.
Yeah. The worry for me is that this board is horrible on 10, so he needs to be quite a bit over.
Yeah, but XGod's going to cover, right? Like, he'll have at least 1 kingpin there. I guess it will only do 1, actually.
Not getting the second unless he sends, but... Maybe with this push, they're sending on 10?
Well,
but, like, I don't see how you're leaking King.
Yeah, Kingdanzz and Widderson both...
Ooh, this income is nice.
Both way better on 10 than they are on 11, I think. And especially with this 120 income send here into XGod, I think that cements the wave 11 send.
Yeah. I think Shea will just tell XGod to cover, because he's going to go for a bit of a leak if there's a send, and King is getting 160 if he wants it.
I think XGod actually pro leaks here. But I don't know how much of a pro leak it is, because like you say, Shea is very, very vulnerable on 10.
This is a little unfortunate, considering it's just 80.
XGod now doesn't get a kingpin without sending.
Yeah, they might be good. 4? Well, here comes the send from King. It's just income.
Oh they send. They send. Okay.
Mentor.
Yeah, they just know that they're in a lot of trouble if XGod doesn't get that kingpin out for 10. So maybe 11 was the plan, but there's just no way they can afford to save after XGod leaks there.
How do you feel about this unit?
I think you know how I feel about that unit. I think it's...
I can see the idea to try and snipe the doppel.
Yeah. But
I'm worried that it's going to be...
Here.
Yeah, I mean, he feels really confident. I think he should.
Well, we're about to find out. We've got 320 Mythium in Kingdanz's lane, 360 for Widderson, Shea receiving 240, and XGod gets a pretty big send as well. Let's see what happens.
Just ran it down, and the Centaur is actually tanking the Kingpin.
Centaur split tanking. Oh!
Absolute genius send, actually.
What a genius send. I take it back. Centaur was the best possible send here on wave 10. Kingdanzz leaking a 50% HP boss, 4 shutdown. Widderson, do you kill your boss? It's close, but no! The 0% Granddaddy. You hate to see it. Shea leaking as expected. XGod has a few units left in the mid to cover. But we're going to get some solid king damage here on the left-hand side.
Yeah, no king ups means just a little extra. I mean, the king is also on the left going in a little bit, but...
Yeah. Alright. Well, we wanted signs of life from Shea and XGod. How about 50% king damage to Kingdanzz and Widderson by wave 10?
Now they have something to play for, which is killing them. So let's see when they think that that's possible. Ooh, an egg even from XGod.
Look at Kingdanzz, by the way. So he knows that he's an absolute god on wave 11 and 12, So he's putting all of his value into rats instead of workers. He wants that Mythium coming in, but he doesn't want to be vulnerable on 13. So he's building those Impact Swift units instead of workers. He'll get the Mythium on wave 11, get it on wave 12, and then keep the value for wave 13 where he needs it most.
Yep. That's really clutch. And here comes Mr. Eggy.
Yeah.
See if this one lives. I think it will. He's got the Kingpin this time to actually kill some stuff.
Yeah, this time I think his egg is doing just fine. And again, we called out Kingdanz's play there with the rat, knowing that he's strong on 11 and 12. It's exactly the same logic for XGod here in lane 4. He knows that he's super strong on wave 11 and 12. He builds the egg here. It will hatch in time for his weak wave on 13.
He went overwork, by the way, and didn't send 12. Which is peculiar, because the reduced myth gen is going to hurt him. I mean, he got a lot of mythium out of that,
but
for sure.
Wave 12 is going to be really fast as well, right? I think it's still a myth, like a positive mythium game.
Yeah, I just wonder if Liz would be better. I mean, Liz army isn't the best in general versus King's board, but the Lizards do something.
The Lizards do something. Widderson does have a Protector Phoenix, which I think is quite good on wave 13.
It's not too shabby. Shea is pushing the double 4-eye. See if it works.
Yeah.
I don't imagine a world where people are skipping, so...
Like, it has to be a double 4-eyes. There's nothing else that has a chance of leaking Widderson.
Yeah.
There's one. It will be post-income for the second. XGod just barely holding his lane.
XGod should also just easy hold.
Yeah, because he full shifted here, so we didn't actually call that out, but XGod shifted a bunch of gold here, wants to get that hidden Millennium Doomsday out on wave 13.
I think he's going to go for Phoenix, actually. Or, well, I suppose it's up to him. He can do whatever he wants.
We have a Hades with double Leviathan buff in Shea's lane, but he's very, very undervalued. And now, this is exactly what we said. So Kingdanzz keeps his rats above ground, and he's actually plus 57. But having said that, XGod's overvalue as well, with a Phoenix. Yeah. So, did XGod reroll, or did I just not see that? I thought he would go for a Doomsday.
He's had the Phoenix, he had the option of going either one,
yeah,
and he opted for the Phoenix here.
I mean,
I would have liked to see him adjust the split, but it's going to work because there's no 4-eyes to worry about.
Phoenix is just so good. The Protector Phoenix is down in Widderson's lane. The double 4-eyes and triple Lizard was enough to kill that thing.
Yeah, and XGod is gonna just easy hold because
they
didn't know about the Phoenix.
Shea's leaking small. Widderson leaks pretty big. Kingdanzz, how are you doing? You might be the difference maker here. The Protector white main doppelganger is just living forever, and the Violet lives as well with a sliver of HP.
One-man army is getting the job done here.
We do see Phoenix covering his teammate here in lane 4 for XGod, and a decent chunk of king damage, but it's still not lethal against Kingdanzz and Widderson.
Yeah, and the question is, you probably want 16, but they're hard pushing for 15. Let's see if it works. Like, I'm worried because there's Garg spam on both King and Widder, and they're both not pushing that hard. But they are trying to use the fact that Shea is absolutely broken on 15 and trying to push hard for it. So I understand that line as well.
Well, this is just going to be a repeat of what we saw in game 2, right? Okay, Widderson actually spends his gold, but Kingdanzz is holding on to 350 at the moment. Oh, he's turning it into rats, and he's putting it all underground.
The difference maker is their king is a lot lower, so you really only need like the boss to go through, for example.
Yeah.
It'll just finish the job by himself.
But Kingdanzz will be like plus 400 or something if there is a wave 15 send.
Yeah, that is what I'm worried about as well.
And there is a wave 15
Oh, it's Sui from XGod or something?
Not quite. He's
not a Sui, he just literally full push.
Yeah. Okay.
30 workers is a good way to kill someone who skips on 15.
Huh? Alright, but let's see now, because Kingdanzz is going to be more or less on value.
Oh, he has a Hades.
He does have a Hades, which I think is
Still
quite
the
good
Angler,
on
White Mane
15.
Hades, yep.
Yeah.
And then
And even
Guard.
add another Gargoyle.
Oh, well, I suppose sending rest that is kind of hard.
Yeah.
And he even does the famous Kingdanzz tier 1 to center the wave, or center his units so that they hit the same target together. Shaman 4 Eyes is not horrible, but the 4 Eyes is really not that good against the guards and the Hades.
Alright, let's see now. Both Kingdanzz and Widderson have good units for this wave, and decent value as well. This is going to be really clutch now. The Pack Rat's obviously not great value, but the Hades is just dishing out the damage here. I think that's a hold for Kingdanzz. Widderson, his Phoenix is going down, so he will leak, but not massively. And Kingdanzz with the big hold.
Yeah, Widder didn't quite get his Phoenix onto the boss.
Kingdanzz, is it a big hold?
Wait, I think
Is this
they're
game?
still dead.
It's,
right?
I think they're dead.
It's 2 Shamans, 4 Eye, and a boss that still has...
I mean, the boss
no
is
king
very
attack
low
this time.
HP, but the Shamans are both full. There's a 4 Eyes in the mix.
I think it's a repeat of the last game, but they win this time.
I think they win. It's so close. They do, yes.
Ooh.
Game number 3. We do have XGod and Shea clawing one back there from Abrasiert.
Very nice.
They're not out
the
yet.
hard push 15 works this time. They felt the overbuild coming, and they decided to just break it instead of also overbuilding.
They played very, very well this time around, XGod and Shea. Like, they played solidly all the way through, and like we saw, game 2 was very close. But this game, they just played extremely well, I feel like. They know their tournament lives are on the line. They're just pulling out all the stops here. We got this 10 send, massive damage done against the king, straight into 13, breaking a Protector Phoenix, which is no mean feat, by the way, getting even more king damage. And then we get XGod pushing from 16 workers all the way to 30, knowing that he needs to break Kingdanzz. He didn't know about the Hades, but he knew he would have value. He gets that 600 send, and it is enough. We do get a 1 game back on the side of the Butter Boys.
Yeah, and a really nice recovery for XGod from like that early game where he was basically leaking every wave.
Yeah.
Over, like, sometimes over value, and turning it into a really nice mid game with the egg and the kingpins.
Yeah. Both Kingdanzz and XGod actually, like, really good display of how to use your power spike on wave 11 and 12 with kingpins to make sure that you're stronger later into the game. Kingdanzz with his rats, so he kept his value high but still got the Mythium, and XGod opting for the egg instead. So his Mythium was maybe a bit lower than it could have been, but he had that amazing unit on wave 13, which kind of guarantees his hold there, especially with the Phoenix that he pulled out as well. So really, really solid play.
Really tough for like Widder to send into nothing.
Yeah.
Like, he gambles with imps, just trying to kill the Hydra and the bucklers. I think in that spot, when you see a full shift, though, you do have to just send 4 Eyes.
Yeah,
at least one. Like, it probably wouldn't leak it anyways, but it's just a rough spot.
I mean, Widderson didn't even have enough Mythium for a double 4 Eyes, and a single 4 Eyes definitely doesn't leak
he only
it.
had 4 imps, right?
A single 4 Eyes definitely doesn't leak XGod there. But the other thing is, if he does go for a double 4 Eyes, and XGod opts for the Doomsday instead of the Phoenix, then he probably holds anyway, right? Like, he just has a Doomsday on his APS aura there, and it just shreds the wave apart. So I think either way, XGod's shift there on 12 was pretty much guaranteeing a hold for him on 13. Very, very solid play. Like, I'm super hyped now to see the next games. But one thing
that's the type of game where you start feeling it a little bit. Like, you feel like you just can't make wrong plays. You have all the right reads.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got to say, Shea and XGod piloted that one extremely well.
Yep, and we'll see. Now they have to show something a little different. No more cartel for Shea, which he was using really well to snowball. And no more cash out for XGod, which he used to pull off some very unorthodox openers.
Yeah. I've heard in the chat, by the way, that XGod's overwork was a misclick. He actually wanted the Lizard Army.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Usually you don't overwork.
Alright. So we are going to have game number 4 coming very soon. I would love to see Butterboys win this one as well. No favourites, obviously, but I just want to see the series go the distance. These two teams are so well matched, and they're playing at such a high level as well. I just love to see this go the distance. So I'm cheering for the Butterboys in game number 4, purely because I want to see a 5-game series.
Yeah, I mean, game 5 where everyone has to flex like 3 masterminds at least.
Yeah.
That's always the best.
Yeah. Have you kept track, by the way, of who's won with what? Do we know which options are off the table for both teams?
Yeah, so King has won with YOLO and Greed. Witter has won with Redraw and Greed. Shea has won with Cartel, and XGod just won with Cash Out, I think.
Okay. So XGod and Shea still have a couple more options available to them, obviously, because they're behind in the series. But both teams still have plenty of options. And we haven't seen King on his trademark Chaos either. I wonder if we get a pawn shop game, Kingdanzz is definitely on Chaos. I guarantee it. I 100% guarantee it.
He's just waiting for it, huh?
Yeah. He's waiting for pawn shop. And it makes sense, right? Like, Chaos with pawn shop is just insane. Because when you get into that mid and late game, the ability to always sell your weak units for a strong unit, and you're constantly rotating unit pool with Chaos, like it just synergizes so well, and it's insane actually.
Yeah, and Kingdanzz obviously one pretty smart guy, so he always has a pretty good vision of which waves are happening, when's he getting a send, so he's really able to maximize the diversity of Chaos.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of hype in the Twitch chat as well. We see lots of reverse sweep chants, a lot of chatter in there. I mean, it was a hell of an exciting game, right? That was really edge of the seat stuff there with Shea and XGod bringing the series back from the brink of destruction. But it's still match point, remember. Kingdanzz and Widderson only need one more game, so we're still in a pretty dangerous situation for the Butterboys. But yeah, I believe we're going to see game 5. Come on, Butterboys, let's go.
There you go. Another. Let's see another Shea pop-off game.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
It looks like all of the players are ready, so we should be getting into game number 4 any second now. Ofma, my heart is beating.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm so excited to see what they can pull, because all of these games have been pretty exciting early games, not just like one team incoming, one team starving.
Yeah.
Mix of starves back, forth great holds, unpredictable sends even.
Yeah. Alright.
No pawn shop.
Twitch chat, here is our game number 4. Let's go.
Cash out, cash out. Ooh, I will say King has some nice options. I know he loves the cat and the pilgrim together for his early game. Fiesta and lock in Poda.
Okay. Okay,
Widderson.
Widderson, lock in priestess. I see
like,
you.
Wave 15, not a problem. I got it this time.
Kingdanzz does not take the pilgrim. He's got a bit of a weird role actually. He's like, bro, you need pierce damage? I've got your pierce damage right here.
Yeah, it's not what I expected, but I mean,
I'm sure he'll
see
make
what
it
he does
work.
with it.
Widderson,
I don't mind it because Widderson is guaranteed to be weaker on pierce waves with the Poda, so little archer star from Shea. Ooh, he can play this one really aggressively with in the early game. Okay, a little veteran opener again, but this time it's Fiesta style.
Yeah, I don't love it, to be honest. This is one of those Fiesta openers where you're trying to force it too much, I feel. I think it's fine.
I know it leaks already like 40% without the rat, so I would imagine that the rat doesn't break any thresholds, but the rat is kind of smurfing.
The rat is tanking and surviving. Is this going to make him hold?
Does a lot of damage on this wave.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
looks like he's just easy holding.
A little bit embarrassing for XGod. Because now he has a garbage build and doesn't get his Fiesta Gold either. Unless...
Well, I think his
he's
Exo
just going to hold. He's just going to hold.
Good at the game.
Well,
XGod
XGod, now you're playing with Veteran, Pee-wee, and Looter.
Yep. Oh, he goes Rat and haunts it.
Okay,
Or...
I can see that.
The Aqua is too strong, I think.
Yeah, the Aqua would definitely make him hold.
Unless he's expecting a snail. Come on,
he's
Rat
in a
and
bit of an
hunt.
awkward position, isn't he? Like, he's got this really rough build going on. Didn't get his Fiesta Gold on 2. Now he's going to hold again. He'll hold again on wave 2 now. Oh dear. I think this Fiesta might kind of go back in XGod space a little bit here.
Yep. Not going to be perfect, that's for sure.
Kingdanzz with the snail sends on 3. Shea should be totally fine with that.
Well, he has option to Brute King if he wants. And King changed his role for something that looks a little more reasonable.
Alright, we do have snails coming out from both Danz, and with a Shea, the only player in the game, saving. He should be okay, though. Gets his Oathbreaker out here.
Possible that Dan's really just wanted the Nightmare, no matter what, because of Blessing.
Yeah.
It's like one of the strongest targets for it. Okay, 60 Send on Shea and King. So it looks like XGod didn't go for the Brute, just the Lizard Snail.
And this mask, by the way, a really interesting ad there from Kingdanzz, because what it does is it brings the wave 3 creeps into a threshold where Nightmare always 2-shots. So
Yeah, that's huge.
That 25 gold unit is actually increasing the Nightmare's DPS by 50%.
Yeah, really nice awareness. Like that turns like what's gonna be a... Oh, that leaks.
That's a perfect leak from Shea.
I mean,
XGod
maybe Shea should be on the Fiesta.
Yeah.
Okay, what's Shea want to do with all this Mythium? Double DT here. What's Splitter got? Is it just Mudman?
It is just Mud. He hardens. A good call because he's getting the 100 send here from Shea, who almost certainly adds the snail to his double DTs.
It's possible that this leaks if the DTs traverse left.
Yeah. The DTs always go left like this because the snail forces them both left like that. The Mudman does have a ton of HP with the Harden though, so I think it's just enough. While the Azaria is able to keep herself alive on the left, unless she attacks the DT and the wave kills her. So this will be a pretty big leak now. 88%. Widderson, a little bit unfortunate there. If the Priestess attacks the chickens instead of the turtle, the Priestess stays alive.
At least there's a cover in the middle, so no king damage at least.
Yeah, or very little.
And let's see, Shea is playing very safe. Just chilled on 6 workers.
Yeah.
Knows his units aren't the best on 5.
Not good on 5, but not amazing on 6 either.
Yeah, I think with 145 gold, it sounds kind of troll, but you can just go second Archer and it's not the worst. The other option is Garg plus Oathbreaker, probably.
Going in for the Oathbreakers, which are... They're great on 5, obviously, but real bad on 6.
I would like to see him build them split, and he does. I sussed out my pings.
Alright, 120 Mythium walks into Kingdanz's lane. Like, we might expect to see a bit of a leak coming out here, but even so, he's actually fine with that because... actually, Widderson 340 value with a D-Harden Mudman. I mean, he has Priestess, sure, but I think he would have leaked decently to a resend.
Root after income would leak him really hard, I think.
Yeah.
But...
Now, Kingdanzz obviously leaks pretty well to the 120 send, but again, he's completely fine with that. Widderson, with his massive 340 value, is able to hold his lane, cover a little bit in the mid as well. And here comes the big boy counter-attack sends on wave 6. Double Brute from Widderson. Kingdanzz, what is your send? Maybe a Mole?
Double Brute? Mole is reasonable as well.
It is Double Brute, okay.
I think you don't worry too much about the Archer damage. It is his DPS, but you can just overwhelm it.
Yeah, I mean, the Archer's already weak on wave 6, right? So do you really
Oh,
need to
there's
reduce it more?
Antler here. Or that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
This
call,
is
Mr.
holdable.
Ofma. Yeah, reading these guys like a book.
He needs his Archer to live. That's the main thing. Like if his Archer smurfs, then yes, he can hold this.
I have a
reasonably
feeling
well.
that XGod is about to get his first Fiesta of the game, by the way, on wave 6.
Yeah. This one is looking like a bit of a leak. He has really nice aggro though. Everyone picking
He
up a
does.
little
He's
bit.
got some nice aggro share, but he's still leaking badly. It's still
And
160 send on a wave where he's real bad. Oh, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
that is a game saver for sure.
Yeah.
Because if this Archer is dead, it's like way worse. And
Is he even holding? No, right? But it's he killed
He
the
got-
brute with the dying breath.
really nice
Okay.
hold.
Okay.
He's on
Shea.
value, but I mean that was a big send.
Yeah, that was a big sin. And XGod leaking 80% there. If Shea had leaked, like you say, like his Archer surviving there with a sliver of HP is huge. Because that thing dies, he's just leaking 50% as well. And these guys, then their king is on 50% too.
Yeah. Wave 6 also doing an insane amount of damage to the King.
Yeah. There is a brute resend from King, but I don't see that working against Shea. Yeah, maybe, who knows? Like, his tanks are not
Brute
perfect. here.
double snail. It's possible Archer really doesn't do that much damage by itself. 1/7 needs a lot of time.
Yeah.
And the tanks, he added a 200 gold natural tank, so I understand why he wants the resend.
Yeah. That gives Shea workers. He was holding 77 gold. I think he wanted to go for the Trinity Archer on 8, but
Yeah.
gets the send here instead and pushes it into workers. Now let's see if he's able to hold. My guess would be no, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, this is basically a hold, even if he leaks very
Yeah.
small.
He's going to kill one more slime. Is it ever another one? No, but 37% against a full send from Kingdanzz. Yeah, I think he's happy with that.
Yep, he's got his Mythium held as well. Can choose a wave of his liking.
Yeah. When do
Maybe
you go
9?
against King and Widderson?
I
I
think
can see 9.
9 is reasonable, but like he has insane tank value, just not a lot
Yeah.
of damage.
And Widderson probably just shifts for his area here as well.
Yeah, he should make that read, I think. Like,
Now-
okay, his unit is horrible here, but
Widderson has these units. It is wave 8, and there's a mole. So I think XGod may be getting another Fiesta here, even though all of his units are arcane.
he did hold it before against Drac and Lucy, but he was a little closer to value in that game.
Yeah, and
So
had
let's-
units like that did some damage maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I
But
mean,
this
if
is
his Aqua
tanking
Smurfs,
perfectly. Okay.
it's more
Does he ever kill them all? He does, right? Yeah, he does. Okay.
eventually, yeah.
This might end up just being a pretty solid Fiesta
An
for him.
actual
then.
Fiesta, yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice. Unfortunately, Shea also decided like he
Uh-oh.
wanted a Fiesta, but
Okay,
it's
double
barely
Fiesta,
anything.
33% each. All of them are low though, so they won't take too much king damage. It would obviously have been nicer if one of the players had held, but you can't have everything.
And now a big sun, I would imagine here, undercutting the 10 where XGod looks horrible.
There's an ogre coming out and a
GK.
ghost knight from XGod. Okay.
That's bold.
I mean, I think it's
And
a
he's,
millennium. Okay.
surely
XGod.
he's gonna keep his upper split, right? Sell the mass upper split? Yeah.
Yeah. Does the millennium
Oh.
ever cross lane into the GK though?
It's unlikely, I feel like, but possible, I suppose.
There's a brute as well. XGod will get enough Mythium to add a brute to his ghost knight.
Oh.
Okay, the Millennium is going to clean up the left-hand side, but the Ghost Knight on the right means that this split does absolutely 0 damage, and it will then walk over left, where it will start to tank the Millennium after all.
Twitter is plus 20, so let's see if he can pull something out.
I mean, the Azaria is very solid, but as soon as that heal ends, I think the Ogre will be able to chew through the hit points. Oh, he gets another one!
Oh my god, it's a full.
It's a full hold. Okay, Azaria, I would be tilted right now if I was XGod and Shea.
He didn't even harden, by the way. So
Didn't even harden, by the way.
absolute Chad.
Yeah. Azaria, pretty good unit.
Yeah. You know, Boone swears by Azaria is the best unit in the game right now, and it's certainly up
he
there.
Might be onto something.
It's the same thing as Phoenix, where it's insane damage, insane survivability.
Yeah. Now, Jules is giving 53% to Kingdanzz and Widderson.
I think that's right in terms that they have an advantage from that hold, but it's not like the game is over.
Oh, absolutely not. And
Everyone
Shea
is...
has white main gates. Like,
yeah.
maybe one of the strongest late game builds.
He also has a reroll, so
He does.
the whole world is available to him.
I think XGod's role is looking pretty scuffed, so he might be the one to suicide later into the game, trying to break through Kingdanzz.
Yeah, his build doesn't have too much synergy. He has like... He has some things. I think I would have liked to see him pitch the rat for the Aquas as like a late game damage source, but...
He just leaks no sense. This is a pretty solid Fiesta, actually.
Yeah, he'll take that.
Well, Shea, do you hold this time? You do, okay. 330 damage on the boss. The Elite Archer, I think, won't quite cover that. But the King...
He might be saying a wave 12, actually.
Let's see if we get
PTA,
the double Divine.
but...
We do. Double Divine Blessing for Kingdanzz and Widderson.
They are going to save.
Yeah, and Divine Blessing is amazing on Azaria, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned this at the start of the game, but it might be the best unit possible to have the Divine Blessing. Obviously, it gets all the extra heal value, which is percentage HP based, and it just does a ton of damage, of course, with the extra 18% attack speed.
King also has beautiful targets for the Divine.
Yeah. The Doppelganger goes to another level if it has Butcher, of course. So he's probably a bit sad that he didn't get the Butcher Divine Blessing Doppelganger. But yeah, it's still very strong regardless.
Oh, he just shows it. And the PTA is going to be a little sad seeing Divine.
Yeah.
It's
and Kingdanzz shifted a decent amount of gold here as well, so he can just be on very high value for next wave. I think they might be trying to bait this end, but like you say, if they really wanted to bait this end, you probably don't show the Divine Blessing here for Widderson.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obvious what you're taking.
They take the baits. They do take the baits.
All right, another situation where King and Widder is... Oh my god,
That is a Kraken, though. That is a Kraken from Shea. All right, Widderson, what's your answer, my friend? A Doomsday from Kingdanzz. A Divine Blessing Doomsday, nonetheless.
It's not? It's going to tank a little bit, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there is no Ghost Knight this time from XGod. He's going for Auras and Imps instead.
He's trying to overwhelm the tanks, which is, you know, fair enough. The wave is already Ghost Knight typing.
Yeah. But this is actually looking kind of dangerous now. We do have a hardened Golem for Widderson, but look at their values, it's scary.
Oh, the very clutch upper slit. Oh, wait, what? Did he not get up?
It's lower.
Oh, he did lower slit.
Yeah. And now that Kraken's walking straight into the Divine Blessing Azaria. Is it able to kill her?
It straight up just murdered it.
The Azaria is down, I repeat, the Azaria is down! And Kingdanzz, his Divine Blessing is about to die as well. That's an 83% leak on the King.
Wow.
An 87% leak on Widderson. I don't think they die here, but they've both lost their Legion spells with the Divine Blessings going down, and they're taking a ton of damage.
Like, can they really commit to 13 where XGod and Shea look weaker, but with this much gold, how weak could they be? Like, they have to commit to something like 15.
Hey, everybody
saves. I feel like to get
saves.
their one shot.
Everybody saves.
Okay, well, XGod is getting a solve out, maybe. No, he's even making the read that they're not going here.
Yeah.
And same with Shea. Really nice stuff.
Wow, Shea just builds a second Trinity Archer here, yeah. Rather than going for that Hellgate.
His board is unreal on 14. He still has his reroll. Not much to dig for, but there could be something.
There could be something. His board is very strong. on 14, but the Sens are going to be enormous. We're talking like 700 Mythium walking into his lane.
Yeah. We'll see how they do. The advantage is obviously Widder and King are a little starved.
They are. Their
So the
income
surviving
is very low, and their value's very low as well. Like, I think XGod and Shea might just go for the race here on 14, even though there's a Doomsday.
It's not the worst call.
I mean, isn't Widderson just leaking no send here? Yes.
Okay, well, now they know for sure they need a send.
Yeah. Double Centaur from Kingdanzz, okay? We've got Four Eyes Auras. There's the Ghost Knight from XGod. There's the Four Eyes from Shea.
He wasn't actually getting that GK at income if there wasn't a pro league.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
But it will be pulled right by Kingdanzz.
Yeah.
Like, same as he gets his second Millennium. I guess he just spams tanks now. He does. Widderson hardens. He knows this is going to be a race.
I feel like what I wanted Shea to reroll most for was a fortified tank. Because it's the best answer to Centaur, which is what King went for.
Yeah.
And I don't hate just building another archer and just trying to nuke the wave.
Yeah. It's a ton of damage, and we have XGod with triple canopy, boosted veterans. Like, actually, XGod and Shea are on better value than Kingdanzz and Widderson, but the Sens are enormous.
I don't love the Four Eyes. I think an Ogre would be better.
Yeah,
and would let you get out something like a Mole as well, but let's see. The Centaurs are murdering the split, now murdering the archers.
He is now attacking the Ghost Knight. His Millenniums don't split tank. Shea leaks really hard. XGod, how are you doing? You're going to leak too. Widderson now leaks. Kingdanzz holds the longest, but their HP is much lower. And actually, XGod leaks very, very slowly there. This is going to be a race. Which side is going to win? There's a massive King HP advantage on the right side. And I think XGod and Shea have brought this series to a tie. They do.
Here we go.
Let me just...
Game 5. Wow.
Yes! Butter boys!
Amazing.
Wow. I got my dream come true. We've got a best of 5 on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. What a game.
I feel like Widder is going to be kicking himself for not upper splitting on 12.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He clearly had the presence of mind. He literally just misclicked where his rat went, I think.
Yeah, he was placing it very last second, right?
Yeah.
But that was so huge because the Kraken walking left just obliterated his Divine Blessing Azeria, and without that, I don't even know if he's able to hold, even if he kites the Kraken, but he does much better, right?
Yeah, for sure, and they don't take as much HP. I'm pretty sure he could full hold that, actually.
Wow.
Like, okay, he'll hit the Kraken eventually, so maybe not a full hold, but...
What a game, Ofma. I'm borderline speechless. That was just insane. And absolutely massive credit to both XGod and Shea for their call there. Like, they know they're kind of weak 13, but both of them full build 14. We've got Trinity Archer and Gargoyles from Shea. We've got the Avenger and a Canopy from XGod and a double treasure hunt as well, by the way. He's really confident in his call that they go 14. And that means when the 14 send does come, he's got perfect units there with the triple canopy, boosted veteran, pack rats to add value, and he holds on the longest, and they win the race. Just insane stuff. Absolutely insane. These guys are... Wow. I thought they were in trouble. I mean, they were in trouble. They lost the first 2 games in a row. But now it's just match point. We've got both teams 2 games apiece, and it's all going to come down to game number 5. I really can't call it either way. I think...
Yeah.
I think just for the fans, it's got to be Butter Boys, right? Like, the reverse sweep... They look like they were in so much trouble after the first 2 games. It's just got to be a dream come true, right? If they just win this game number 5 and take the tournament.
I'm going to run to the bathroom.
Yeah, go ahead. All right. Twitch chat, I think I probably need to grab myself some water as well after all of that shouting. So I will leave you with our competition sheet. I will not, because I've closed it But I will be right back in 30 seconds. Alright, Twitch chat, I am back. We have an Ofma in here as well, I believe. Oh, what a series, Ofma. My god, that is tense.
The series is indeed coming down to the wire.
Yeah. Alright, XGod and Shea are ready. Casters ready. Kingdanzz and Widderson ready. Twitch chat, I hope you are ready as well, because here it comes. September Nova Cup Grand Finals, game number 5. Let's get it on.
But pulling that off with the struggle Fiesta opening.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, Cartel, Greed. YOLO.
Cash out YOLO.
From Widder. Okay. Cash out from King again. Can he convert this time? He has Crusher with cash out. Aqua.
Cash out Crusher with Aqua is a fantastic cash out opener. It's very, very strong.
Widder has no late game in his role yet, but solid early game units. You know, Shea has the Poda available to him if he wants it.
Yeah. And we saw
treated him well so far.
Shea's a pretty good Pota player. Interesting that Widderson doesn't follow his the same logic that he did in the previous game with the lock-in priestess. I think maybe last game he did that entirely because of the divine blessing, knowing how good Azaria is with that blessing. And this time, this time he just wants more income instead.
I'm a little sad that we don't get to see the King Chaos.
Yeah, no pawn shop though. I mean, I can guarantee if there was pawn shop, Kingdanzz would be on.
Here come the rats. Oh, he's gonna not even go for the Pro League.
Okay, he wants to hold. Oh, that's because he has the treasure hunt, right?
Yeah.
So the faster the waves, the more powerful the treasure hunt.
For sure. Oh,
there's
and
a snail
he
though.
sussed up the snail.
Okay, well he is going to leak then. The looter maybe lets him kill another 1 creep than he would otherwise.
Yeah.
$67. I think maybe he kills an extra 1 creep with the looter. Yeah. But
see what they do. They saved.
They did save. It's a long wave, which is a little punishing for the double looter, but he's fine.
King actually opted to not go for the Crusher opener. Went for the Gate Guard instead.
Let me just update the scoreboard quickly. I've left that on 2-1 currently. Get that corrected. It is, of course, 2 for 2. Alright, XGod unfortunately sends a snail here. I assume he needed the income. He did, yeah. Like he needed it to get the double gargoyle out.
King is gonna snack on that one.
He is. XGod can still do something disgusting like a post-income fiend snail, though.
Yeah, and King built a lot for Wave 2 and Wave 4, and not so much for Wave 3.
Yeah. Like, you have to assume he's going to get the Seraphim upgraded for Wave 3, but if the Fiend goes right, it's going to destroy it.
His other option is the Coiler, which he could go for because it's also really strong on 4.
Yeah.
We'll see what he opts for. He's only going to get the DT.
Okay. And because he's 2 workers, he doesn't get a second DT. I wonder if he adds a snail or not. I mean, Kingdanzz is 300 value, right? Like, he should be able to hold.
Yeah, I mean, this is the cash out special. It's
Yeah.
like 5 workers, nice try on 3.
I have to say, Widderson's YOLO roll is not perfect, and he has used his reroll already.
Yeah, and the same with King. Like, these rolls both can't carry
They
in late
both
game.
used their rerolls, actually. So neither King nor Widderson have real late game roll to speak of. So I expect them to go for some big early aggression, because otherwise they're just dead in the late game. And Widderson 74% there to the triple snail, with his treasure hunt trying to show off, getting burned in response. Kingdanzz does hold, but he's not going to kill up anything in the mid.
Yeah, I mean, Widderson went for a bit of a risk. I mean, 6 workers and hunting a rat is very bold, to put it one way. See what he wants to do with his Mythium. I mean, he pushed hard for something, and it's a wave 4 send versus XGod.
This
The
is a
thing is,
dino
XGod
send. Really
can always
bad.
just unhunt.
Yeah. I mean, he gets the fire elemental, which is obviously very strong, and he's actually on value even with the hunted rats. He stayed 2 workers this entire time. Alright, I mean, the Wanderer obviously is very bad on wave 4, but value is quite good.
Yep. He should be just fine unless his gun decides to die. And Widder reading that XGod is in fact way over.
Yeah, he sends the
Just
king
goes
up
for
with the
the
dino. And the Aqua is taking a lot of damage, but I think it's enough that it can survive there. Yeah, so XGod is holding. The Gatling gun is split tanking with the Wanderer. That looks like a hold to me. So XGod and Shea, they're back in the driving seat. They really have the initiative now. They've got a solid chunk of Mythium saved up. There's no pressure against them from Kingdanzz and Widderson after that send, which they both successfully hold. And when do you think they go?
Looking at these builds, you want to say 8 eventually, but
Yeah,
getting to 8? Tough.
Yeah. I mean, 8 against Kingdanzz is absolutely crushing. Of course, he'll have a coiler there, but Ghost Knight just rips him to pieces. And likewise, Widderson, how is Widderson holding Mole Hermit? I mean, he has a coiler of his own, but that's still hidden for now.
Feel like it's fine to just take him here as well. Like, I don't hate that. 7
Let's
is possible as well, after you
I'll
see the
save it.
Royal Guard. Like,
Yeah.
the Royal Guard is definitely an indication that he didn't shift for an answer here. But he is going to get out his counterpart.
Yeah, King knows it's not coming here, so he just builds the Wild Shroom. He's going to shift 64 gold. Widderson, what do you do with your 176? He actually sells a rat for the Violet. Obviously very strong here. I guess... Oh, Kingdanzz actually builds another Buckler as well, by the way, so wasn't quite confident enough to shift.
Okay. 160. That's the magic number, usually.
Oh, that's Mimic territory, but actually... Mimic is pretty bad against Kingdanzz, isn't it?
Yeah, is it ever Pack Leader, honestly? Like, it doesn't answer the Canopy directly, so maybe the Brutes are just better, but...
I'm feeling wave 8. And it will be a wave 8.
That is a really good call.
There's more treasure hunting going on. But XGod won't get that Ghost Knight in income, though. Because he's getting so much of his Mythium from rats instead of workers. There's no way he gets the Ghost Knight pre-income, I think.
Yeah, he would need an insanely long wave.
Yeah, one of the players needs to leak, and he probably also needs to full push. He's even keeping one of the rats above ground, actually.
Yeah, I guess he feels like they don't need the... He doesn't need the GK. It would be nice, for sure.
There's no way he
see.
gets 30 Mythium with 5 workers, right?
Yeah, he's plus 45, so he's going to clear actually really fast, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And Shea is also on value, so they're clearing fast as well. Would have been nice to see him actually leave a rat unhunted. Try and get a longer wave out.
Yeah. I tried to go for that pro league, but you're feeling the pressure, right? He actually goes for Imp's Mole. And XGod, Shea, sorry, with the Ogre as well. So we've got the Deep Coiler coming out. I don't know how I feel about the Ogre, though. There's a lot of impact damage here in Widderson's lane. And Kingdanzz against the Imp Mole as well. I don't know.
Coiler is really nice for Widder.
Well, for both, right?
Yeah, he hasn't. They both haven't showed up, and the Mole will answer it because the Mole is really hard to kill.
All right, 260 and 240 Mythium. Let's see if either player is able to hold. Oh, this Coiler's getting speedrun though. Blocking the lane with the Pack Rat actually backfiring badly for Widderson. Meanwhile, Kingdanzz, his Coiler goes down.
He's not going to kill the Ogre, is he?
Oh, that Gate God just got off a summon in time. Big leaks, 105% for Widderson. How is Kingdanzz doing? Slightly better, but not well enough. 60%. Oh. Oh boy! And just look at the workers
good start.
As well.
Shea just buying all of them.
Yeah?
Not a worker he won't push.
Well, Butterboy fans in the Twitch chat, can you show some love for your boys XGod and Shea? We wanted to see the dream reverse sweep, and things are certainly starting off well for them if that's the case.
They are trying to make it happen. I mean, Widder is stuck in worker prison.
Yeah, 7 workers on Widderson. Oh boy.
Not the record for lowest workers, but certainly up there.
Yeah. And the other thing is, remember the roles. Like, for Kingdanzz and Widderson to win this one, they kind of need to be crushing the early game, but at the moment it looks like the opposite.
Yep. I would say the scaling is a lot more favored in terms of the Butter Boys, so
yeah.
they must be feeling pretty confident here. There's no real weaknesses, it feels like. Will have to be something long, but
yeah.
To what end?
Alright, everybody saves. Oh. XGod topping the power score there. Widderson lagging behind now with his 7 workers. Alright, Kingdanzz fully building here. 1400 value. He's got very tanky build, but lacking in damage. I could see a wave 12 send coming out from the Butter Boys.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is, do they ever get... it's close to a GK in income for both of them.
A wave 11? Yeah, I think they do, right? If they wanted to go down that path. But the reason I don't like 11 so much is that Kingdanz's units, like his Royal Guards, they are just the perfect tank on wave 11, right? Whereas they're just complete dead value on 12.
Looks like King is going for income here.
King is going for income. Shea and XGod save. This is going to be a 12 send with Lizard
Army right away.
I expect to see Sacrifice or Villain for the Abrasiert boys.
It feels like without Villain, their rolls can't kill anything. There's just no DPS in either of their roles, really. Like, Coiler being your best DPS is rough.
Yeah. You've got to feel for Abrasiert a little bit here. Like, these roles are just not what you want to see in the final game of a best-of-5 series. They're obviously doing the best they can with it, but XGod and Shea are not giving them a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
We do have the double Lizard army. Widderson taking the Villain as well. So Abrasiert going for that powerful buff spell. We do have the send against Shea, who I can only assume will full push now into this 12 send. Widderson even treasure hunting, actually.
Yeah, good read. I think they expect the 12 as well. And the Lizard Army will definitely confirm that.
I mean, XGod, I think he can double Ghost Knight, can he? Oh, he didn't treasure hunt this week.
Oh!
Shea giving shutdown.
That's actually a lot of gold. Shutdown plus 75% link.
Yeah. XGod at least will clear this up in the mid, so there won't be very much king damage.
I mean, the gold doesn't matter if they don't hold, obviously, but...
Yeah. But it's something.
Yeah, I mean, this wave is also taking about 4 years, which is not great.
A little bit of lag there. Hopefully that's nothing big. Okay, a very minor king damage. And yeah, like you say, this wave is just lasting forever. And it's just pack leader imps.
Classic. Tried and true.
It's a very good send against both players. I would have liked to see Ghost Knights maybe against Kingdanzz in particular, but Pack Leader Imps is just very, very solid. And look at these values, by the way. We've got Kingdanzz minus... Actually, it's not even that bad. When he finishes building, he's around minus 150. He just has no damage apart from these coilers.
We're having to villain a Canopy. That is the state of affairs.
Yeah. You love to see it. These sends are pretty massive. Meanwhile, Widderson's still on 7 workers, by the way, wave 12.
Yeah, it's a tough game.
520 Mythium for Kingdanzz, 580 for Widderson. Let's see how the boys do against these sends. Widderson getting his coilers both killed.
The Lizard Army,
quickly.
man. It's like the perfect spell.
Kingdanzz getting wrapped around. He does get that final summon. It won't be enough. That's a big lead.
Dead.
Widderson 125%. Kingdanzz 88%. The Butter Boys have done it. This is a reverse sweep. Butter Boys are your September champions. Let's go.
Wow.
Insane. The GG's come out.
Reverse sweep. Oh my god. Amazing.
Holy moly, what a series. What a series. Ofma. Ofma. What just happened?
Unreal. I'm still in shock that they did it.
Yeah. Let's just have a quick look through this game because this was absolute bullying from the Butter Boys. From start to finish, they drove this game. Like, we got the leak on the snail on 1 against XGod, so a bit of a moral victory there for Widderson. But then we get the 20 send into the 60 sends. Widderson leaks really hard with his treasure hunt there, maybe being a bit too greedy for his own good. And XGod staying 2 workers, hunting his treasure hunts every single wave. Both Shea and XGod hold their wave 4 sends. And they go straight wave 8 with these massive 200 Mythium sends. Getting big king damage. Kingdanzz and Widderson down to 50% wave 8. And that just opens the path for this enormous 500 plus Mythium send on wave 12. Killing Kingdanzz and Widderson, crushing their Nova Cup dreams, and that gives us our September champions, Shea and XGod, the Butter Boys. Incredible play.
Oh.
Oh, hey, XGod.
Speak of the devil.